In this video, I want to tell you about some big help that's coming in Game Week 25. We're also going to take a look and see how the Wildcard team is doing. And finally, we're going to round it off with looking at a few players that potentially I should be taking the risk and putting into my squad now. Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Femi. Let's jump into it. Okay, so the big help that's coming in Game Week 25 is an early deadline. So Game Week 25, we have an early Friday deadline, which is awesome, but it even gets even better than that. We have an early deadline for Game Week 26, which is also a double game week, as we all know. We just don't know which team is going to double, whether that be Arsenal and Wolves or Chelsea or Everton. But the beauty of knowing about an early deadline is this. We get extra transfers quicker, so we don't only have to wait until Friday to get a transfer, and then the next week it's even a shorter turnaround, only waiting till Tuesday. Why this matters? We need transfers to really obviously change our squads. And although I just wildcarded, I still have 3 transfers. So my view is if I wanted to pick up 2 quick transfers to get to 5 and aid my team even further, I could do that. Or I could use the transfers to look at some players, and we'll talk about those players later, that we can get in the squad now to even make a wildcard team even better. So that's the news. So if you guys are looking at, improving your squads and thinking, okay, I want to take some risk, you can, because ultimately you'll be able to get a quick turnaround and hold on to 2 transfers and get them quickly. So let me know what you guys think about that, what you guys are doing. And with that, let me go and look into how the squad is doing in Game Week 24. All right, so let's take a look and see how the wildcard and new team is doing. So we're on 57 points, and we still have Royce and Ballard to come. I'm recording this video on Sunday just before that game on Monday, of course. So when we look at some of the highlights, we're going to look straight to the midfield because this is what I needed to change. And we got Enzo with the late winner against West Ham, which was great. And he finished on 8 points. Bruno Fernandes with the late assist. So Man U could beat Fulham 3-2. And he ended up with 2 assists and 2 bonus. And so he finished as my captain on a 20-pointer. And then Semenyo, huge person to get into the squad with a goal. He's been playing all 90 minutes. He's absolute must buy, in my opinion, because he's the best attacker at Man City, and you can't even argue with that right now. And then, the forward line, a little bit disappointing with Haaland with 5 and Thiago at 2 points. Ultimately, obviously, when we zero in and see Saka in the squad on a 0-pointer, he was pulled from the game in the warm-up. I took a gamble because I didn't think Rodgers would do that well, given the injuries at Villa. And Saka was, I think if he played that game, he would have done well. He would have done just as good as Madueke, who had his goal upgraded actually had his assist upgraded to a goal actually. So he finished on a goal and an assist. And, Saka, we could probably have been looking at a double-digit haul. But again, right, we can't talk about things that don't happen in FPL. We can only rely on what's happened. So I have a big decision to make there in that spot and also in the midfield in general, because Rice hasn't been doing that well as of late. He's still one of the top, point getters in the midfield department. But is there changes that I can make? And we'll take a look at 2 players that I could potentially put in for a short-term punt to really give my team a little bit more of an edge, especially as we look at so many squads in FPL right now have a similar midfield as mine. And then, on the bench, unfortunately, Collins didn't start. So he missed out on that clean sheet opportunity that Brentford got against Villa. And then Mane, who potentially could double if Arsenal beats Chelsea in the Carabao Cup on 2 points, and Diouf with 1. So that's how the squad's looking. So far, we'll see how Sunderland, if they can make it even better for me, but I'm not too disappointed in how the start to the wildcard squad has gone. Now, let's take a look at those 2 players that I could, potentially put in the squad to make it a little bit better. In a video I did on $100 million players who were transferred in the Premier League in the last 3 years, this player was ranked 3rd. But I think I made a mistake. He should be ranked a lot higher, and that player is Florian Wirtz. He looks amazing. He has 4 double-digit hauls in the last 7 game weeks. He's single-handedly leading the Liverpool attack. Well, not single-handedly, alongside Ekitike, as their chemistry looks really, really positive. They are, playing well, and they're scoring goals. And ultimately, he's looking full value for that 100 million plus pounds. And he's still owned by under 14% of managers in the game. And when you look at their fixtures, they have the, I would say tough fixture, but, Man City is looking leaky at the back, up next at home. And then, they have a couple tough away games, Sunderland away and Forest away. But then they return with West Ham at home and then Wolves away. 2 mint fixtures from game week 28 and game week 29. So Florian Wirtz is definitely on my radar, and I'd be looking to potentially pull the trigger. I can just do an easy sub from Saka to Wirtz. But we'll see if Arsenal gets that double game week 26. But he is one player that I got my eye on for sure. And then here is my next player to consider to potentially put in our squads right now. The next player is a player that is in really good form as well. He has 4 returns in the last 5 games. He's a midfielder and he's under 4% owned. It's Morgan Gibbs-White. He is the leader of the attack at Forest, and he's playing really, really good football. Another player that, is looking to potentially get into the World Cup squad for England, and he has a lot of potential as we look at the next 2 fixtures. Leeds away. We all know that Leeds plays fast and aggressive, so he could give him space on the counter attack. And then he goes against his old squad at home with Wolves. So game week 25-26, I really don't mind a punt on Morgan Gibbs-White. And, at under 4% owned, you can get to him and no one else is going to have him in your mini leagues. And he'd be such a strong option moving forward for you. So those are my players to consider. I hope you like this video. If you like what you've seen, please like and subscribe below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.